After an incredible comeback, Venus Williams was startled and Melbourne was on the verge of exploding with enthusiasm when Alycia Parks delivered a vicious insult to the entire country. Welcome back to Cordiva Tennis, the only channel that analyzes the drama and reveals the mayhem in addition to broadcasting Tennessee. One of the most spectacular, astounding, and career-defining events in Australian Open history is taking place right now. If you believe that tennis is just about wearing spotless white clothes and giving courteous applause, you should reconsider. There was much more going on Melbourne's Court 6 than just a game. The sports world is still in shock over the brutality, savagery, and complete disregard of this conflict and cultural collision. Barriers were rushed by fans. The fury was difficult for security to control, and it all culminated in the most brutal verbal altercation the sport has ever witnessed. Control failed. It took the vanquished player herself to stop an all-out riot as the tension skyrocketed. This was no longer tennis. Someone had just been given to the lions during a gladiatorial fight with a yellow fuzzy ball. So grab some popcorn, turn off your phone, and get ready because what happened was so bizarre and expertly planned by the tennis gods themselves that reviewers would label it unbelievable if it happened in a film. This is the tale of how Alycia Parks rose to become Melbourne's most despised woman, how one lost microphone almost caused a global scandal, and how Alex Eala became a national hero despite losing. The first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open, took place on Monday, January 19, 2026. The temperature was skyrocketing as the sun blazed over Melbourne Park. However, what was developing on Court 6 was even more intense than that heat. One player, one name, and one moment that everyone had been anticipating had been the talk of the tennis world for weeks. Since she was old enough to grasp a racket, Alex Eala, a 20-year-old Filipino phenomenon and the pride of the Philippines, has carried her country's tennis aspirations on her shoulders. This was history being made, not just another first-round encounter. Alex Eala's Grand Slam main draw debut. Ella stood for optimism, opportunity, and the dream that a Filipino player could compete with the world's greatest tennis players for a country that had never witnessed one of its own breakthroughs on the biggest stages of the sport. And the supporters arrived. Oh, did they appear? Court 6 queues were formed prior to sunrise. Hundreds of thousands of people strolled through Melbourne Park, past Rod Laver Arena, and all the way to the outside gates. Wearing personalized Ella t-shirts and dressed in the red, white, blue, and yellow of the Philippine flag, fans, many of whom had saved for months or even years, came to see this event. They didn't travel to Australia for a holiday. They came to witness their queen ascend to the throne. Court 6 had changed by the time the game started. There you have it, class. That's what a real champion looks like. This match has had a very devastating aftermath. Traffic caused social media systems to fail. Twitter turned into a battlefield. Hot takes erupted on Instagram, and TikTok turned every moment of the drama into viral videos. The world of tennis is split. Tennis didn't realize it needed off the planet that called Alycia Parks the enemy. A fierce rival who gave the audience precisely what they deserved and refused to give in to pressure. The consequences have been explosive. Alycia Parks is being defended by half of the world, who claim that her reactions were appropriate in the face of an antagonistic audience who applauded her mistakes and glorified her hardships. The other half denounces her as rude, disrespectful, and unsportsmanlike, contending that you should never offend a whole country of supporters who have come from all over the world to cheer on their athlete. They claim that there is a boundary between cruelty and competitiveness, and Parks violated it. As a result, they demand penalties, sanctions, and an apology. However, Parks showed no regret during the press conference following the game. She actually doubled down. I don't know what my record is with crowds against me, but it definitely puts a fire in me, she said to reporters while grinning defiantly. When the masses are against me, I think I'm doing well. She laughed when asked if she regretted what she had said. I apologize. The match was won by me. That is all that is important. Parks has disregarded tennis etiquette by portraying herself as the antagonist, making her the most despised player in Melbourne, New South Wales. Her response indicates that she adores it. However, tennis royalty was the source of the moment that solidified public perception rather than Parks. Venus Williams, an Olympic gold medalist, 7-time Grand Slam champion, and one of the most well-known athletes in the sport, never discusses controversies, but she felt obligated to speak. Venus posted on social media about Alex Eala soothing the crowd and averting a riot, saying, "This is what a champion looks like. The heart, not the score. I'm a fan of yours, Ella." Excellent. Venus made no mention of Parks at all. It is more than just a tennis tease when one of the best players in history acknowledges you as a champion. It is a validation that will accompany Ella throughout her entire career. Parks didn't even need to be mentioned by Venus in her post. It was evident how different they were. What should we do next? Despite being eliminated from the Australian Open, Alexandra Eala's reputation has never been stronger. Despite losing the game, she gained the admiration of all athletes. According to reports, sponsors are lining up to sign her. Big businesses want to be associated with her grace and character under duress. Invitations to speaking engagements, charity events, and exhibition matches are already flooding in. Even if Ella's Australian Open debut did not go as planned on the scoreboard, she left court 6 as one of the world's most admired young athletes. Alycia Parks moves on to the second round, where she will take on 19-seeded Karolina Machova, a Czech player known for her court craft, slices, drops, and tactical prowess. In essence, Parks' worst conceivable stylistic matchup. There is no doubt that everyone in the stadium will be supporting Machova. Parks will now have to deal with the fallout from her role as the tournament's antagonist in front of the tennis community. For the remainder of the Australian Open, every game Alycia Parks plays will feel like an away game in hostile territory, UT. She doesn't appear to give a damn. She actually thrives on it. She has successfully transformed herself into the antagonist of a tennis plot, enjoyed being the bad guy, and leaned into controversy. I can't help but wonder if that was her original plan. Negativity causes some athletes to crumble. It is used as rocket fuel by others. Parks is obviously the latter. Like all sports, tennis need both heroes and villains. We require contentious moments that evoke emotions beyond courteous applause. That's just what Alycia Parks has done. You will watch her next match whether you like her or not. That's box office, power, and importance. We already have a narrative that will characterize the 2026 Australian Open, and it hasn't even begun yet. The peacemaker, the almost riot, the insult, the reply, the bagel, and the mic drop. Every possible encounter between Ella and Parks will undoubtedly be a must-watch television show, and the animosity might linger for years. Before these two players had even established themselves at the top of the game, the tennis gods had given us a long-standing rivalry. The argument is still going strong today. Which side do you support? Was Alycia Parks' response to a crowd that had been insulting her for 2 hours entirely inappropriate or justified? Should we applaud this as a competitive fire, or should she be punished? And as the most elegant athlete in professional tennis today, Alexandra Eala OES deserves greater recognition than the player who prevailed. Passions will erupt and opinions will clash, which is precisely what makes this story so captivating. The next thrilling match, Ella's quest to solidify her place among the most adored tennis players, and every other chapter of this developing drama are all worth following. You must be subscribed, This is simply the beginning of the story. If you appreciate Alexandra Eala's amazing sportsmanship, hit the like button. Then, click subscribe to become a part of the fastest-growing tennis community, where the drama, rivalry, and great moments are only getting started. Remember to sign up for the fastest-growing tennis community on YouTube and hit the notification bell to be the first to see our upcoming video, which will analyze the most recent events in this story. Exclusive analysis, professional responses, and unseen footage are all available here. You won't want to miss a second of this drama as it develops. Until the next time, Cortiva Tennis family, keep your eyes on the ball, maintain your enthusiasm for the game, and return here for the whole truth when things get heated. In closing, Cortiva Tennis would like to remind you that winning isn't always the most memorable event in tennis. They occasionally occur when someone wins without grace or loses with grace. I'll see you at the next one. In any case, I believe that we are both doing fairly well. I believe the matchup is very nice, but I know everyone else wants to watch it. This was no longer Melbourne. This was Manila, a Philippine stronghold situated in the center of Australia. There was a palpable electricity and excitement in the air. Every seat was occupied. With flags waving as though Olympic gold was at stake, people crammed into the aisles. You could hear the "Let's Go Alex" chants from 3 courts away because they were so loud, cohesive, and deafening. This was the time for Alex Eala. Her home court advantage in a foreign nation, her troops. The American powerhouse Alycia Parks stood across the net, confronting this wall of noise and tsunami of support for her opponent. Parks strikes a tennis ball as if she's attempting to kill it. Possessing one of the largest serves in women's tennis, she can produce aces that would make men envious. She combines athletic prowess with unadulterated strength and aggression. She also doesn't perform for applause. He plays with the intention of winning. She won't think twice about running you over if you get in her way. Even Parks, who is tough and battle-hardened, had to deal with the pressure that day as she walked onto court 6. She was confronting more than just Alex Eala. She was up against the whole country. There were thousands of yelling supporters who only wanted to see her defeated and deported back to America. Parks was shaken from the outset. Ella's victories sparked eruptions of applause every time. Every mistake Parks made was applauded as though the match had been lost. In addition to supporting Ella, the Filipino audience was engaging in psychological warfare by praising missed first serves, encouraging unintentional mistakes, and subverting tennis etiquette. The environment was devolving into pandemonium, perilously close to a real safety concern, and on the verge of a global incident that would be televised live worldwide. After that, Alex Eala accomplished something remarkable. She saw the growing danger, even though she had just lost, had witnessed her Grand Slam debut dream dashed, and had every right to be furious and heartbroken. She observed her supporters become uncontrollable. She witnessed Parks entering a potentially violent scenario. Eala made a decision in spite of everything, including the insult, the loss, and everything else. With trembling hands and tears running down her cheeks, she ran to the microphone that Parks had dropped and yelled over the commotion. Her voice was powerful and forceful, but it cracked with emotion. "Cease. Please stop," she cried. The audience paused. Some folks hesitated, perplexed. Why was the woman who had insulted them being defended by their idol? Why was she shielding the villain? Ella moved forward, physically positioning herself between her opponent, who was withdrawing down the tunnel, and the enraged mob. Then she said something that instantly went viral and was aired on every sports network in the globe. It summed up everything admirable and lovely about sportsmanship in a single remark. "I don't want your nation to despise us. Act with respect." Total chills. I get chills. Good athletes were distinguished from great ones, rivals from champions, at that very time. When Alex Eala had every reason to let her feelings run wild during her most heartbreaking moment, she opted for elegance. She made the honorable decision to represent her nation, demonstrating that bravery is more than simply winning on the court. It's also about how you behave when the pressure and stakes are at their maximum. She made the proper decision to represent her nation. Alex Eala made the decision to go beyond the current situation. When the audience heard what she had to say, the stands began to shift. Anger started to fade. People ceased to advance. When some admirers realized their idol was correct, they began to cry. Hey, they're about to make their country and themselves look foolish on the international front. Nothing was worth sacrificing their dignity, not even a tennis match or an insult. The crowd gradually subsided, and security eventually took back control. A 20-year-old who set aside pride and acted morally prevented the crisis. Alycia Parks had long since vanished into the locker room by the time order was restored, leaving a stadium full of astonished spectators and controversy in her wake. But despite the devastating loss, the mayhem, and the emotional weariness, Alex Eala persisted. She stayed on the court, hugging kids wearing her jersey, signing autographs for sobbing fans, and taking photographs with people who apologized to her. Later, she calmly informed reporters, I know a lot of people were rooting for me. Gave it my all. All I can hope is that the support keeps up.